All right, so today's lesson we're going to be solving quadratics. Another big thing about solving quadratics is factoring trinomials. So in a previous lesson we found the greatest common factor and pulled that out. And that is to set up this next step of factoring trinomials. So we're taking three terms, because tri means three, nomial means terms, so three terms, and we're going to break them into two different groups or two different parentheses. And the reason we do that is so that we can find, again, the zeros, the roots, the x-intercepts. So that's the goal of today. And here's how we factor by grouping. So let's say we wanted to factor x squared plus 7x plus 12 into binomials. That means bi is two nomials terms, so binomials, two terms. So we want to change a trinomial into a binomials. All right, so the first step of doing this is that I need to make an x factor chart, and I'll show you what that looks like, or you should already know what it looks like. And what we do is we put the a, which is 1 in this equation, and multiply it by c, the constant in the back. And we multiply a and c, in this case it's 12, and put it on top of my x factor chart, and 7, or b, in this equation, goes on the bottom of it. So 12 always on top, and 7 goes on bottom. And remember, for our x factor chart, what we want to do is we need to find two numbers that multiply to give me positive 12 and add to give me positive 7. So two numbers that multiply to give me 12 and add to give me 7. So which numbers go in there? Let's see. Well, if I think of all the different factors of 12 that can go in there, things that multiply to give me 12, like 6 times 2, for example. 6 times 2 equals 12, but 6 plus 2 is 8, so that wouldn't work. But 3 and 4. 3 times 4 equals 12. 3 plus 4 equals 7. So those are the two numbers that go in my x factor chart, both on the left and the right. So what we do with those two numbers is that we need to split 7x into 3x and 4x. So we're making, instead of a trinomial, we need four terms, a quadnomial, if you will. So we're going to split 7x into the two numbers we just found, 3x and 4x. From here, this is now where we group. We're going to group the first two terms together and the last two terms together. And the reason why we're going to group them in parentheses is because we need to find the GCF, or the greatest common factor, of each parenthesis. So look over here on the right-hand side, I have x squared plus 3x. Let's focus on that parenthesis. Now, even though it's not written, there's an invisible 1 in front of x squared. And so the greatest common factor of 1 and 3 is 1. So I could factor it out, but it won't change anything. But I could factor out a single x from both of those. So I could factor out a 1x from the first set of parentheses. Now let's take a look at the second set of parentheses. I have a 4x plus 12. Let's see, 4 and 12, the greatest common factor, I think, is 4. And so if you pull out a 4, what I'll have left is x plus 3. So the goal of this is that we need the parentheses to be the same. We need what's left over from my greatest common factoring to be the exact same. I pull out the x, I get x plus 3. I pulled out a 4, I get x plus 3. We need those parentheses to match, in which they do. And so here's my last step. So write the matching parentheses once, then write the greatest common factors together in one parenthesis. So x plus 3, plus 4, x plus 3. So we write x plus 3 once, and then we group x plus 4 together in the other parenthesis. And that is how I factor a trinomial. So here is a quick tutorial video on how to do that. We're going to do a couple other examples on another video.